started. Well, we're running a little bit, about 8 minutes long, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick that time. You okay to start? Let's go ahead and come back to order, please. This is our last session of the evening. Again, just a reminder, if you have not signed in, please do so. It's important to the public library to have everybody in their data set that's attending and use the facility this evening. The next session is for county jailer. I won't go over the rules once again, just to make sure everybody's aware of those. All participants will conduct themselves with professional disposition and provide direct and specific answers to those questions posed to the moderator. There will be no mudslinging and false allegations made during the forum discussion. If a candidate is challenged, then that individual would have an opportunity for a rebuttal. We will provide 3 or 4 rounds of questions, and each candidate should limit their response to 1 or 2 minutes. Is everybody amenable to that? All right. We'll begin round 1. Ms. Smallwood, as the incumbent, please describe 1 or 2 of your most significant accomplishments over the last 4 years and what are your primary initiatives moving forward.
The most important thing that I did accomplish was overcoming just being a woman. It was a challenge, but I feel like that I addressed that very quickly, and the inmates, you know, they respect a woman. So that's one of the things that I had. And then, of course, I feel like the jail is as drug-free as the jail can get. I worked really hard on that. And we've also we purchased a body scanner and invested a lot of money from the commissary for no cost to the county. We've had a lot of programs. One of the big things I've done, which COVID slowed it up, we put a child support program in where that the inmates could get a job. And that money went for their child support. That was a small amount that went to them. So that was a good program until COVID hit. And I'm working on getting that started back.
COVID taught us all the problems, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
I think most people are ready to move on, though, do believe that.
Oh, yes.
All right. That's just my opinion on the COVID. Thank you. Mr. Schultz, would you please describe 1 or 2 of your most important initiatives you work on to implement as county jailer?
First of all, just give you a little background for people that don't know me. I'm Chris Schultz. I'm the police chief of Manchester. Have been for the last 11 years. Prior to that, I was assigned to several different drug task forces, Unite. I also was assigned to the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, ATF, as many people know. One of my first initiatives is I want to build on what Ms. Smallwood said, drug-free jail. And I'm not saying it's not Ms. Smallwood when I say this, but I want to take it a step further. I understand we got the body scanners and all this. I want to start a criminal investigations unit inside the jail with 1, 2 deputies. Also, intel. The phone has the phones. The jail has a phone system that a lot of these guys that try to sneak in drugs or any other items. I'd like to have an officer that's 1 or 2 daily that are monitoring that to make sure that we're on top of any situation of that nature if we're talking about that. What I really like to do is, and what I've really said in my campaign is make the jail self-sufficient as possible. And I'm not saying Ms. Smallwood's done a good job, she's done a great job. I'm not getting in that in any way, don't want anything toward anybody. When I say that, my understanding is the jail is paid for in July.
Yes, sir.
Or somewhere in that area. Why not expand the jail? And you're saying, why does he want to expand the jail? You guys know the federal government pays big money to host people waiting trial. If you can get a contract of that nature, the federal government will pay for your jail. And that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And they also, you can have deputies, deputy jailers to transport from Knoxville to Laurel County, different courthouses. They pay for that as well. So why not have somebody paying for the jail instead of the taxpayer? And that's my goal. Could it happen in 4 years? Yes, I'm gonna try my best to make that happen if I'm elected jailer. But, it's a start.
Would that involve an annex to the current jail or a new location?
It could
new
involve an
facility?
annex of the jail, and you probably wanna stay within your confines of what you have.
Okay.
Because you got state, county, federal, if you put federal limits in there, but they gotta have their own section.
Yes.
And that's what I plan on doing, is trying to get that contract. Because Laurel County Jail is 100% self-sufficient. No taxpayer money, and that's what they do.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, please describe one or two of your most important initiatives should you be elected jailer.
Well, I think the main reason that I'm running for jailer, I know both of them, we bring up finances. Finances is good, but the jail is run off the finances that make the commissary and what the county gives. We gotta focus on the inmates. Let's focus on the inmates, and we can say there's no drugs or whatever, and I'm not saying that there are drugs in it. We gotta get these drugs, bro. Once they get out of jail, they're out of jail. You still gotta talk to them when they get out of jail. You got to be there for them when they get out of jail to keep them going on the straight and narrow. That would be one of my biggest things. And another thing, the commissary is a real good thing that pays for a lot of stuff there. But people don't realize, everybody finance. The commissary is taking a lot of money from the people. The jailer, the inmate ain't the one that puts that money on that commissary. It's not costing them a dime, it's costing the families and the people that's in there. So we need to try to negotiate that commissary a little bit, where it still helps the jail, but it helps the families out in the county. We're a very poor county. And like I said, let's, everybody quit focusing on the finance and let's start focusing on rehabilitating these inmates. That is the main thing that we have to do. And like Chris said about, have somebody in there, put somebody in there and investigate. You don't have to do that. You get respect from the inmates in that jail, and somebody will tell you what's going on. That's the way I look at it. I don't need to hire nobody. I need to go back in there and talk to them, sit down, let them get to know me, and they'll tell me what's going on in my jail. You see what I'm saying? That's what you have to do. And if you get respect in that jail, and it's, respect is earned. I put that on there and I'll say that. They're not gonna respect you if you don't respect them.
Talk to you if you guys got a lot of stuff to say. Thank you. Be patient.
Can I add on to that, please?
Yes.
In response to Chris's, the holding federal inmates, that's a great opportunity if you can get it done. I think they pay like $80 a day, when holding state inmates is like $33 a day. But you would have to build on to get that done, because the facility we have now is not capable of doing that, which it is a great idea. And also, to Mr. Jackson, on the commissary, we have the lowest prices available. There is some things that are cheaper at the jail. We compared the prices, and I know that it is a hardship on families, but now, let me tell you, the grandmas and grandpas will bring them the money. And, you know, it's up to them how to spend it, but we do offer them, you know, the lowest price possible for that. And on the money from the commissary, I have been able to do it in-house, because I don't want to be no middleman. I want to make what money I can to help the county. Every year that I've been there, I've been able to give to the fiscal court. I think this year it's $154,000 to reimburse medical. And out of the commissary money that we have made, I have bought a body scanner, no cost to the county. We've done a metal detector, no cost to the county. We are, at this time, implementing tablets. I don't want to get left behind in this world of technology. You have to keep up with it. We're installing the tablets, and then we will have the video visitation. That was a problem during COVID, because inmates didn't get to visit like they should. So we have that in place. And there's many things that you can do with that commissary money. I wouldn't want to raise prices to earn money, but I do want what we can have for our county. On that money, I get to, like, buy mattresses, inmates' clothing, if I can do it better. I mean, the county has to, furnish so much, but anything that I can buy, that exceeds that and help us better, that I can do that. So that money has come a long way for this county. It's come a long way, and, I'm proud of that fact.
I would like to explore the annex or the increasing of space again. You all talked about that. It does generate revenue, obviously. What kind of space are we talking about? How many beds? What would that cost? $5 million, $8 million,
Well, it's
25
just
million,
what
50
you wanna
million?
do, really. I mean, if you could take a facility and you could add 50 inmates, I'm not an architect, but I don't know what it would cost, but I know what it would bring almost
Yeah.
$1.5 million a year to the county.
50 inmates
Yes.
at the federal level?
Yes.
Interesting, no doubt. Round two, Ms. Smallwood, how do you maintain order and safety within the detention center? Not only of the inmates, but of your personnel as well.
Okay, well, order and safety it's a main priority. Training, and more training.
Yes.
We have 24 hours of mandated training for the employees. We have an 8-hour in-house training that I have officers that do that. We have, just daily training as we go. It is so important that these employees know how to handle these inmates. I don't do it personally myself, but I see that it gets done. The office of a jailer is more of an administrative office. I manage a $3.2 million budget, and you don't want nobody getting hurt. So you do, make sure that the inmates and the staff are safe. The inmates, as Mr. Jackson was talking, it is so important to talk to them and to commit to them and feel them. But it's not all about inmates. It is not. You have to have the administrative part down.
Yes.
Or you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna pay your bills. You're not gonna do anything extra if you can't work in that budget and keep it there. And I will say, not this year, but the previous year, I did manage that jail and pay the payment of $525,000, and I'm very proud of that. That was a big accomplishment.
That's significant. Mr. Fultz, how would you maintain order and safety within the detention center, for not only inmates, but also your personnel?
Well, first of all, let's say the employees are safe. Just like she said, training is key. I would take it a step further. They would have more than 2 weeks of training. I know that you said that's a mandatory minimum, but they would have training in every aspect of their job. That is their defensive tactics training, their weapons training, their, how you say it, verbal judo, you would say, and talking to inmates, how to relate to them,
Yes.
how to talk to them. De-escalation is key inside the jail, because Ms. Mom would tell you, you're in a confined space. De-escalation is your number one goal. You don't want escalation inside the jail because it just becomes a problem at that moment. Inmate safety is training the inmates.
Yes.
This is what we need to, this is what we want to do, this is what we expect you to do, and train them in what you want them to do as they are there. I'm not saying train them as, you gotta be in the lunch line this time, blah, 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 but,
There's a protocol.
respect and order.
Yeah, there's a protocol, expectation.
So when the inmates and the staff are respect and orderly, it should run pretty smooth. I'm not saying there will never be problems, there will be. And piggybacking on Mr. Jackson there, if you don't have to hire somebody to do something, I'll give you a prime example with my criminal investigation background. Yes, you can get a lot out of people just talking to them and communicating and community policing, as we call it, law enforcement. But I have learned in 22 years of law enforcement, Nobody's gonna tell you anything unless you absolutely know it. They're not gonna volunteer anything. I don't care how well you know them, I've worked in this county for 22 years. They're gonna hide something from you. So that's the reason I wanna implement that is, hey, we have a problem here with you doing this, whatever. And they say, no, we don't, and I ain't doing it, I can show it. Here, this is the problem.
So engagement and investigation.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, how will you maintain order and safety within the detention center for not only the employees, but also for the inmates?
Well, if I was the jailer, the order with the employees is that I would treat them all the same. Put everybody on the same level. We're all there to do a job. Treat them, they know how to do their job, just do it. They don't need no supervisor. If you have a question, you come and ask me. Okay, and like, back to what Mr. Bush said, yeah, you get in there and there'll be some. But the main thing is, if you get respect from them and you don't look down on them, they'll talk to you and they'll tell you more. I mean, I used to get in trouble a little bit. When I see the police officer, yeah, I ain't gonna tell them everything, or I ain't gonna tell them everything. But when you get a relationship with somebody, not just go back there and say, I'm the jailer. I mean, go back there and sit down and say, how you doing today? What's going on today? Is there anything I can help you with today? You know, let them know that you care about them. Let them know that if something goes on, that you'll be there for them. They can tell you and talk to you. And if you talk to all of them and you sit down and don't go in and sit down and talk to one or two. Talk to everybody. Talk to all of them. They don't know who's telling you what. And you're gonna keep the jail going. And with your employees, you cannot let your employees go back there and disrespect them and expect it not to fall back on you. If your employees is going back there treating them inmates the way they want to, just like Mrs. Smallwood said, she's running it from the front. You have to have administration. Yes, you do. But you have to be able to go in the back and take control of the situation. You know what I mean? If you're by yourself or whatever you have to do, you have to go back in there and say, listen, this is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna go on. You guys need to work with me. It can be this way or it can be that way. You give them the option on how they want it to be. And you can make it, I can be fair, I can be firm. If that you're gonna have some in there that need to be firmer. Well, you put them over here, you put these over here, and you can make the jail to where everybody is sort of trying to get along. You know what I mean? They're talking to each other. You can't have a guard go back there and says, what's this guy doing? Well, that guard over, well, me and that guard over there is good friends. Okay, that's what he did. Okay, man, you better quit doing that. I ain't gonna go out here and tell nobody, but just me and you know, we'll keep it between that, and you can deal with him later on. You can't have, you got to know what's going on with everybody. Every inmate, you got to know. What else you have to do? Walk through the jail and talk to them. Sit down. There might be some you take to the office and sit. You got to understand what these inmates is going through. You got to know what their family problems is. You don't know what they're doing, and you're back there. Put yourself. I do this job right here at the hospital, and I do a job at the ambulance center. When I see somebody at that hospital, put yourself in their shoes, and then look at yourself and ask what you would want to do for them to help you. You see what I mean? Just do stuff like that and see what kind of production you get. See what kind of respect you get. And see, it's totally different than the way they do it. It's just something that I think would bring it out better because you've been in this situation before. You know how to understand this situation. If you've never been in this situation before, you can't go in that back and try to talk to an inmate and get respect from him. You walk in that back and look at that inmate and say, listen, don't come with that. I've been exactly where you've been. God got behind me and look at me now. I'm your jailer. Yes. Get your feet under you. Get it. And they'll talk to you. Oh, Lord, yeah, and then they'll understand you. They're like, this guy ain't like the rest of them. He knows exactly where we've been, what we've been through. Let's go, let's help him. And that's how it'll go. And it'll go a lot smoother than going in there trying to be like, well, I'm getting this guy to go up there, he's watching you, he's doing this, he's doing that. You can be firm, and you can be fair, and you can be respectful.
So maintain control of the environment.
And be on call 24 hours. I mean, be on call 24 hours. If something goes off, like I said, you're the jailer. Whatever job you got to jump up and go down into the jail no matter what's going on. A young kid gets brought in, PRAI, scared to death.
Yes.
Call the jailer and see what I'll do. Call me and see what I do. I'll go down there and sit down beside that kid. Man, what's going on with you? And I'll talk to him. I got this thing where I got lucky enough for the VOA to get me to come and talk to these kids that's going through this stuff. That is the best thing in the world that's happened to me because I can go in there and these kids open up to me. Because, you know, I ain't looking at them like they're in trouble. I tell them, I've been in the same spot you've been in. Talk to me, tell me what I can do. But you gotta put yourself in his position and then say, what do I need to say to this kid that he'll, and then talk to him, and next thing you know, they hugging you, shaking your hand, you give them your phone number before they leave. Tell them, if you ever out there and you get in something in your mind and you think you're gonna make the wrong decision, call me. And they got my number right there for them to call me, and it's the best thing that I can do. I just think working with people and trying to understand what they're going through and what their family's putting through, you gotta know everything about it. They could be having problems with their woman. You could sit down and talk to them. You having problems, I ain't talked to my girlfriend in 2 or 3 days. Well, listen, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna first go call his girlfriend and tell her I'm gonna call back about 1 o'clock, and then I'm gonna go get him and have him talk to his girlfriend, because 30, 40 minutes later, he could be fighting somebody in that thing or causing the obvious ruckus just over not speaking to his girlfriend. You should understand what these people are going through, and then I think the jail will run a whole lot smoother. And as far as Ms. Bible talked about the budget and all this, yeah, we want to make money. But it's not all about the money. It's somebody's youngins in that jail. It's mother, daughter, brother, cousin, they're in that jail. Once they get in that jail, that's their punishment. It's our job to take care of them and understand what you're doing. That's the reason I think I would be.
Right. Yes.
Mr. Jackson, I mean, it's good to have compassion and care for, the inmates, but it is literally impossible to talk to 330 inmates and know all their problems. I mean, I do have compassion for them. I've talked and actually ministered to a lot of them, but it is impossible to sit down and talk to every inmate. I have to, I mean, I do have to talk with their mamas and their grandmas and all that on the outside, but I do communicate with them. And as far as me not going in the back, I do go in the back when need be. We had a riot not long ago. They was all masked up. They was ready to fight. It's a bad situation, There was gonna be trouble. They flooded the cells. Okay, I'm a woman, they do respect me. I really think that the men respect a woman more than they do a man, which, you know, they should. But when I go in and they know I'm there and they see I mean business, it just calmed down. It was over. So,
Put
you
the
know,
kibosh on it.
that's right.
Mike.
Well, it is.
I'm sorry. Can I say something real fast, please? Yes. Okay. The jail, the detention center. I work there. I've been there over 3 years now. The inmates have their own rules, their own set of rules they go by. You can't pull them out. If you pull an inmate, if you go back there and you pull an inmate out,
He's taking our time.
He's a voter of detention.
Okay, I'm sorry.
if you go back there and you pull an inmate out, you're gonna get him beat down. You gotta watch your P's and Q's. It's the most stressful job I ever had in my life. But I'm still there. I just wanna let you know that. It's unbelievable. If you've never worked at a detention center, you have no idea what we go through.
Thank you. Can I say something real quick? Listen, you're elected jailer. You go to work. You work 8 hours a day. I talked to 300 some people at the hospital in 2 weeks. You can't tell me if I got them locked up in a building, I can't talk to them. I mean, I got them locked up in a building in a cell. Why can't I walk back there and talk to them? I can walk back there, I can pull whoever I want to out. If I have to pull 10, I can talk and find out what's going on with it. Like I said, it might take me 6 months to talk to all 30 of them, all 300 and something. But I talk to them. And then after I talk to them, yes, like she said, I will talk to the family members that they talk. But you cannot tell me that it is impossible to talk to 330. Like I said, I do it all the time.
You suggest you do have access?
They're locked up, where can they go?
Round 3. What programs and initiatives, Ms. Smallwood, would you implement to reduce recidivism and coming back to jail and then a revolving door? How do you help rehabilitate inmates?
Well, that's a good question. We work really hard on that. There is a lot of they come and they go, and they come back and they go, and we really work hard to try to train them, but we do have, classes, that, you know, they can take with them when they leave there. We do moral recognition therapy, we do classes on thinking for good, we do parenting classes, we do stay and quit, you know, which we do with drugs, we do MRT, which is moral recognition therapy, to let them realize who they are and what they are capable of doing. We do anger management, we do untangling relationships, because like he said, you know, sometimes it is a matter of a boyfriend-girlfriend thing, you know, and we try to teach them ways that, you know, they won't come back. We try to rehabilitate them in every way we can. And on our classes too, it's, the DLC had put in place this year that we actually get paid for everybody that graduates. And from July to, December, we brought in $180,000 extra
In the education
through the
program?
educational programs.
Excellent.
We have, people that come in, to do, the domestic violence classes. We have, we have, you know, the continuing educations, all those programs, the church programs, they come in, and we've had, Lord, I don't know how many get saved or give their life to the Lord. It has been a humongous amount.
Is there a
So-
spirituality program? as well?
Yes, we do. And, but we do everything we think possible to keep them from coming back. There is a lot of, you know, times that I do have to talk to some of them, think, what's going on here? You need to change your way of thinking, you know. There is many times that you have to do that.
Mr. Fultz, programs and initiatives you would utilize to reduce recidivism?
Obviously, the first major program is that I don't know every program that's in the jail, and I can't say what's in there or not in there at this time. But one of my key initiatives is, rehab centers. As you guys know, the federal government is throwing money out hand over fist for rehab centers. Why not take that opportunity to make sure the people that are incarcerated in the county jail, state, whatever, county inmate, that they have that time here while they're in jail. You know, jail is a place where they start the process. It's not where they finish the process. So, you know, obviously the court system is going to dictate where they go from whatever their charges are to where they go as far as that goes, rehab, prison, whatever. But while they're there, I'd like to implement rehab inside the jail. I don't know if Ms. Smallwood does that now. But in classes, just like she said, continuing education, GED classes, or get them started on their GED, or get them an education, or, you know, just like, let's just say, you know, you got a guy incarcerated, he's a drug abuser, or whatever he is, but he's pretty handy with, putting in a HVAC, or electrician, or something. And once you get them in there, and say it's an inmate or whoever, why not help him try to?
Some skill
get
training.
him skill training somewhere.
Is it possible to do like a counseling, actual therapy? Can we contract with a behavioral health group or some private practitioner? Is that
I'd
possible?
say most jails in the state of Kentucky have a behavioral, health group that they contract with. Continue that education part of it. And just like she said, the spiritual program, I'm just gonna be honest with you, the moral compass is broken. That's why you're there.
Yes.
You know, bad luck or whatever, but it's, I'll be honest with you, it's the morals of it. And with that being said, and implement all that, and then, you know, continue with them as they go out of the jail. Now, can we as the detention center, you know, keep track of, you know, say we have 1,000 inmates a year? No, but, you know, kind of keep track of them. Hey, how's it going? How'd you, you know, we sent you here, helped you here, go here, you know, in your rehab or your classes or some kind of program that you was put in.
Yeah, if
BOA.
funding was available, would we be able to hire like a social worker for case management to do the follow-up?
I'll be honest with you, my plan, you could You can hire whatever you want to if you become mostly self-sufficient, and you can implement, not saying anything about the workers at the jail, quality workers, therapists, people of that nature. You can hire people like that.
Mr. Jackson, programs, initiatives to reduce recidivism and the revolving door.
Well, here's what I look at. I look at it, they both got good plans and stuff like that. If you ain't been through it, you can't talk to them. I don't care what they say. You can go in there and you can be a police chief, you can be a jailer. If you ain't been through what these guys have been through, you can be a drug rehab, whatever, and you can come in and you can sit down and talk to them, and they're gonna sit there and they're gonna twiddle their thumbs because they're sitting there looking like, you ain't been through nothing I've been through, but you gonna sit here and tell me what I could do and what I can't do. I've been through what they've been through. I can sit and look at them guys and say, listen, I know what you're going through. Let's sit here and talk about this. If you leave this jail, here's my phone number. When you get out here in this spot and you think that you want to get into something, call me. I'll come to you. I don't care to come to you. You just have, that's the kind of support. And in the jail, the drug rehab. Yeah, they get all these drug rehab, they get this GED, but we're not telling that they get 90 days took out. If I'm sitting in jail and you come to me and say, listen, you want 90 days off your sentence, what do I have to do? Go to my GED, sign me, him, and him up. Yeah, we want 90 days off our sentence. Your drug rehab. Well, you get 90 days off your sentence if you complete your drug rehab. Well, we want 90 days off our sentence. And then as soon as they walk out of the jail, they start getting high again. You got to stay with these people. You can't offer, you'll be dying. Come to this program if you want to. If you really want to come to this program, don't worry about the 90 days. You come to this program and that way you really know you want to get help. If you're coming for the 90 days, you're coming for the wrong reason anyway. I'll see you in 90 days again. You know what I mean? That's what you gotta stop. You gotta stop the revolving door by talking to these people, and don't let them sit there and say, well, and then like, we've got programs, that she's got some programs, the GED program. It's a great program. But once they get their GED, when they get out of here, who's gonna hire them? Who's gonna hire them? You tell me. Ain't nobody, they can look down on it. Ain't nobody gonna hire them. You got to do it. We got Clyde Phillips hiring, dying for people to work. We got Daniel Boone paying half the salary.
Yes.
Put them two together and let's get the inmate, man, when you get your GED, I'll talk to this guy, he's gonna give you a job. You can take it and run with it, or you can be back to see me. But I'm gonna give you the option. What choices you make is your decision. But you got to live through the consequences that come from your choices. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and be able to, once they get out of jail, if I see you on the street, I'm gonna come up to you, cutting up, acting a fool and everything. I'm not just gonna walk by you. You see what I'm saying? Or if they see me on the street, they're gonna holler, hey Mark, what are you doing? I'm gonna cut up with them and act a fool, you know? That's how you keep them from coming back. You doing okay out there? Yeah, I'm doing fine. Well, you know, anytime you ain't doing okay, you give me a call. That's how you get them to keep from coming back. That's how you will emphasize a program. You can hire one of the best, go to Harvard and get you one of the best drug people in the world. But when he sits down and starts talking to that addict ain't wanting to listen to not one word he says because that man has not been in the same position he's been in. You know what I mean? So he's not wanting to hear it. He's wanting somebody that's been there, that has got themselves out of the situation that they're in, and has brought himself out of it and made his life better. And if they can find out how he made his life better, they might be trying to put an emphasis in on how to try to make their life better. And the same thing I tell them, I've been there where you have done that, God got behind me and look at me now. And I wouldn't change absolutely nothing I did in my life, because it made me the man I am today. And once they realize that, they start talking to you, and you get them outside, like I said, and let them really come back and talk to you, they'll understand that. Don't let them just leave, you know, they leave, like I said, you wait 2 months, here they are again. I mean, that's how you get, I think that's how you solve the problem.
I think all three candidates have talked about skills training, education as an opportunity to reduce recidivism. Is there a way to partner with our local area technology center for skills training? I know they have construction and HVAC, different kinds of programs down there. Is there an opportunity to partner with their community technical colleges so that once they get the GED, they can matriculate to the next level? Is there a way to leverage that partnership?
Well, you gotta look at it. If they ain't, just like I said with Daniel Boone and Clark, you've got to find them. You got to get out and find these guys, or somebody's gonna work with you to give these guys jobs. Once you find out a place that you can get them jobs at, then you go in there and you can train them for the habits that you can get to get the job. I mean, you gotta, what people don't realize is these people that send you, they gotta want to. They don't want you to come in. If you offer them stuff to get off their time, they're gonna, they're gonna take it. I mean, if they ain't gonna take it, they don't need to be there, they need to be at Eastern Heat. I mean, you know
Yes,
what
there's
I'm saying?
opportunities for it, yes, you can implement it in the jail that, you know, when the state inmate or county inmate or whoever is incarcerated in your facility, yes, you can partnership with a community college or just a company or somebody, because I was actually at lunch the other day and the guy was a plumber.
Yes.
He's like, man, you know anybody, you know, in here work $40 an hour starting out?
Yes.
He said, I'll take them. If they'll just come with me, I'll hire them today, and we'll teach them on the job. So you see that, there's opportunities
I
everywhere.
think Mr. Phelps has an apprenticeship program, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yes.
So there's opportunities to get that training on the job through an apprenticeship.
Yes.
Yes, I'm partnered with VOA and Celebrate Recovery, the court system, they send them to all kinds of rehabs. And then, I know VOA does some good housing and the job. So, there's many programs that will help them get a stable life when they leave there, and I do partner with all them.
Well, yes, see, I said, the thing with the VOA and like I help them, everything, all them, like I said with the people, they've got to understand these people before you start judging them, you know what I mean? You've got to know what they're going through and understand what they're going through, and then they want a job. Some of them just said it so they get out of jail. You've got to really understand what these people are going through.
Absolutely. So I do believe there's opportunities, especially on the education, because I think all three counties have talked about an opportunity there. And if you have somebody who's gainfully employed, they're less likely to get into trouble, they don't have time.
Correct.
They're probably, busy throughout the 40-hour work week and have less time to get in trouble. So I think education is going to be a big program moving forward. And whoever wins the election, I would hope you would commit to that and find opportunities. Ms. Hopwood, as the incumbent, I'd like to ask you to close up. Why should you get reelected as jailer of Clay County?
I should be reelected because I put my heart and soul in this job. I've got 20 years experience now. And it would take many, many years for these gentlemen to know what I know today. It's not easy. I mean, there's laws and rules and things that you have to abide by. And I just think my experience would lead me to be the best candidate for the job.
Mr. Fultz, why should you be elected as jailer of Clay County?
Be elected jailer of Clay County. Just a little more on my background. You know, I'm not running against Ms. Smallwood or Mr. Jackson. I'm not running against them. I'm running for the office of jailer. It's that simple. I could sit up here, we could go back and forth on each other's background, we could, you know, go at each other, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the office of jailer. I believe I can bring a lot of opportunities to the jail, and when I say that, I'm not discouraging what Ms. Smallwood's done or anything of that nature. You know, I've volunteered for this county since I've been 16 years old. I'm 42 years old now. I volunteered, I was a firefighter at Manchester Fire Department, 16 years old. So I just didn't start volunteering and doing anything to run for office. I've been doing it since I was 16 years old. I've coached many kids, and so has Mark, in this community, at a young age. And a lot of them, I see, their parents are back here, and those kids are 28, 29 years old. I didn't do it for money. I did it for those kids. And so, with saying that, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm invested in my community. Obviously, you know I'm invested in my community. I got 9 kids. So, I'm well invested in this community. And I wouldn't take anything for it. But I want them to be able to see this community grow and prosper, not die. That's my goal. It ain't about money, it ain't about the job, it ain't about nothing. I just wanna see the community do better. And if somebody at the lowest point in their life has a chance to do better and I can help them, I wanna be there to help them. And we can say that we could do this, we gotta do that, we gotta do this. Each person is different, guys. Nobody responds the same. They don't. Somebody might respond to Ms. Smallwood, somebody might respond to Mr. Jackson or Mr. Davis before they would me. Nobody responds the same. My background into, Mr. Jackson was talking earlier about not knowing what people go through. I have spent my whole career in law enforcement battling drugs, my whole career. I've been in the houses, I've stayed in the houses, I've bought drugs from drug dealers as undercover. I've been there, I see what they do, I know what happens. So, yes, I've seen these people at their lowest point, my whole career. And I've spent my whole career, you can ask most people that I've dealt with, I've always tried to help the best I can. But at the end of the day, they gotta help themselves. They gotta make that decision to help themselves. Whether it's the Lord, or they just come to it in their own realization. At the end of the day, that's it. And implement my ideas into the jail, like we spoke to earlier. I would like to make that plan happen. If the jail is no longer being paid for, why not invest back into the jail to make the budget smaller for the jail? You know, you take a 50-bed facility, as Ms. Smallwood said, $80 a day, you get 50, you do the math, guys. So we're $1 million a year back into your community, into your jail. That ain't going out to your community, that could build a ballpark, or do something for somebody's county road, or do something of that nature. That's my goal, is to make it as self-sufficient as we can. And have quality people working at the jail. I'm not saying anything about Ms. Smallwood's employees. I don't know half of them. So I'm not saying anything negative toward them, but train what we got. I will say this, I'm not firing anybody, because these people have been working at the jail. They know what's going on. So why not have those people help you out if you're elected jailer? And I'm not gonna say here and say that I know everything inside of jail. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't. But I want to bring my plan into the jail. I have 23 years of criminal justice experience. I've been on the federal, state, and local side of every bit of it. In this community and other communities, fighting for those communities. 23 years in the criminal justice system. I know the ins and outs of the criminal justice system. I've spent my whole life doing that. So, in saying that, I just didn't show up to run for jailer as a police chief. I didn't do that. I've been invested in my community since I was 16 years old. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, why should you be elected jailer of Clay County?
Well, the reason I should be elected judge of Clay County is because I've got a lot of plans that I could know that would work. And one's had 20 years, one's had 23 years. Let me tell you something, I had 27 years of the wrong experience, let me just put it that way. Where I was on the same side as the ones in the jail, let me put it that way. I realized what all they went through, what I went through, but you know something, God blessed me 25 years ago when He gave me a child. Changed my life, and I did good, and I've been doing good from ever since. I know I can make a difference in that jail by talking. Just like Chris said, I'm not gonna fire nobody. And just like she said with experience. Well, there was a gentleman that got elected jailer before her that did the exact same job I do. Talk to people. Kenny Price.
Yes.
He didn't have no experience as jailer when he went in and did a great job. Stayed there till he didn't have nobody running against him and he just stepped down. Experience is how you treat people. Kenny treated the people right, and he did that before he got elected jailer, just like I do. As your jailer, I would change everything about the jail just about, just in my eyes. I'm not saying she got it her way, and I have nothing against her, but her way is different from my way. I would not let my employees run my jail over my inmates. I would be the one that makes every decision that goes on. I would not have captains or whatever this is called and stuff like that. Everybody does their job. They know how to do their job. There'll be a supervisor if they have a question. Main thing is for the employees to not treat the guards bad. Not treat the inmates bad. We're looking at people that's always been on the other side of that. I'm on the same side of that. They don't understand the people that's in the jail. You gotta understand the people in the jail to run a good jail. That's the way I think. And as far as administration, I'm like Chris, they people up there running the administration. I think as a matter of fact, Mrs. Smallwood was in administration when Kenny took over. And she worked up there in the office under Kenny for 8 years, if I ain't bad mistaken. And then she took over. And if I ain't bad mistaken, I think she's been jailer for 7 years, just to make her 8th year. But she's been in administration the whole time, so yes, she does know about the ministry. But you have to focus on in the back of the jail. That is our main thing, to keep these people from coming back to that jail. Mr. Force was right about the federal. Federal's not gonna do nothing here till we can line up what we got with the state and what we got going on in our jail right now. Once we get all that took care of, I think we'll be all right. But the reason I would be the best at it is because I respect people and will talk to people and let people know how I really feel about things.
Any last follow-ups before we close? All right, so we want to thank the candidates for coming out this evening, appreciate your time, for sharing with the voters.